meditative while we wait for the bells to stop tolling. All right. Well, you can see all these people up front in these light blue t-shirts. They could comprise their own congregation. There's so many youth here that went on the trip. I had 2 churches before I came here. One of them had about this many people on a really good Sunday. The other one on a really good Sunday might have 8 people. 8. 0, 8, not 8-0. Welcome. This is Mission Trip Sunday, so I've never done this. This is a completely different kind of Sunday, and I'm really excited about it. We have special music. We've got these young folks who are going to be sharing some aspects or some moments from their recent mission trip experience, and so I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I need to share a few announcements, and then we'll just get going with the service, and I will get out of your way. First of all, the flowers for today are given by Alex and Hannah Thompson in celebration of their 3rd wedding anniversary, so if you're here, congratulations. Speaking of flowers, we need folks to sign up for the altar flowers this summer. And also, I did want to point out this particular announcement because I really like the way it's phrased. It says, coffee hour hosts needed, all caps, every upcoming Sunday is, all caps, open. I really love the optimism there, the positivity. It's not like help us out, no one has signed up. It's like everyone here has a chance because every Sunday is available. So thank you for that announcement. That was probably Roxanne, thank you. But we do need help if you'd be willing to sign up for something like that. Oh, softball game on tomorrow evening, and it'll be at 8 o'clock. They've been at 6 and at 7, but tomorrow will be at 8. The team, to my knowledge, has not yet lost. So they're probably doing, yeah. I don't follow Major League Baseball, but I bet you can't say that about the Brewers. So come on out and watch the team at 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. Strengthen the church, it's ongoing. That reminds me, because I don't think the generosity things, but a reminder that the offering plates are outside, either on your way in or on your way out. And I believe that's all I have in the way of announcements. Does anybody have anything they need to share? Oh, Sarah.
Open and Affirming Ministry will be meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. in the lounge, and we'll be debriefing the very successful Pride picnic that we went today, and our ongoing ministry this summer.
Okay. The Open and Affirming Coalition tomorrow. Did you say coalition? Ministries, yeah, that's right. Tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Anything else? Okay. Chris, I think you're our lay reader. Yes.
Please rise if you're able. Jesus says, "Come to me, everyone. When I play a joyful tune, we'll dance. When I sing a lament, together we'll weep. And when I chant for justice, we'll sing along, hopeful together for meaningful, lasting change."
Christ
of love. We know that moving out of our comfort zones allows us to see you in expanded ways. Reaching out to others opens pathways for experiencing your actions in new ways. This group we welcome back today has traveled together in unexpected places, has walked alongside unexpected people, and has witnessed God's work in the world in unexpected ways. May we learn from this mission team to expect the unexpected, and may we gratefully receive and actively engage with the expanded visions, the surprising experiences, and the new ideas they have brought back. May we love each other and all our neighbors as we expect the unexpected. Amen. And may the peace of God be with you. And also with you. I invite you to share the passing of the peace with your neighbor. Special music. Anna Mansell's here with us today, and she has two pieces of special music. This is the first. The second one, I might as well just give them a little heads up, is going to be, she wrote it herself, and it will be the premiere of this performance in the United States. But it has been previously performed in China. filling in for Bill today. Natasha's up here, as you can see. She's got some search committee update information for us. And we'll need the mic, please.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Well, first of all, I wanted to assure you that we, as the search committee, are not on summer vacation. We are continuing to meet every week. Sometimes we even get together more than once a week. And in addition to the information that's in our bulletin, I have even more exciting information than that. So in March, I introduced to you the 12-step process that we're using for our committee. And at the point that I had written our update, we were on point number 6. And so I had mentioned that we had conducted second interviews for, I think at that point, 3 candidates. And since that time, we've decided to invite a candidate for an in-person interview, which has now brought us to step 7. So that's very exciting. So that'll happen. And so I won't be able to give an update for that next month, but hopefully come August, I'll be able to tell you some more information. And then things could be moving even quicker than they have since we started in January. So that's very exciting, as I indicated, and absolutely things are continuing to move along, and we're optimistic. So thank you.
Okay, it's time for the monthly birthday offering, so I'll bring the little container and I'll move Anna's seat over a little bit and stick it there. Oh, you're right there. Okay, I'll let you take over from here, Kristen.
Our scripture reading this morning is from 1 Corinthians chapter 12. These verses they correspond with what's printed on the back of our t-shirts, which is a declaration of interdependence. Indeed, the body does not consist of one member, but of many. If the foot would say, "Because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body," that would not make it any less a part of the body. And if the ear would say, "Because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body," that would not make it any less a part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the hearing be? If the whole body were hearing, where would the sense of smell be? But as it is, God arranged the members in the body, each one of them as he chose. If all were a single member, where would the body be? As it is, there are many members, yet one body. The eye cannot say to the hand, "I have no need of you," nor again the head to the feet, "I have no need of you." On the contrary, the members of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable, and those members of the body that we think less honorable, we clothe with greater honor, and our less respectable members are treated with greater respect. Whereas our more respectable members do not need this. But God has so arranged the body, giving the greater honor to the inferior member, that there may be no dissension within the body, but the members may have the same care for one another. If one member suffers, all suffer together with it. If one member is honored, all rejoice together with it.
We have a special musical number, so for those of you that are going to be part of this, I want to invite you on up, please.
you for my breath. Thank you for my heartbeat. Thank you that I'm blessed with everything I could need. Thank you for my home. Thank you for my body. Thank you for my soul and everything within me. Thank you for the food I have. Thank you for the belly laughs. Thank you for the rainbows on those rainy days when I can't stop feeling sad. Thank you for the warmth of the sunshine and the ground beneath my feet. Thank you for the love of my family. It makes me feel so alive. Thank you for my breath. Thank you for my heartbeat. Thank you that I'm blessed with everything I ever need. Thank you for my home. Thank you for my body. Thank you for my soul. Thank you that I get to be me. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful I get to be me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the pure water to drink. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my natural instincts when I need help. And I can hear my higher self saying, it gets better than you think. Thank you for the joy and the pain. Thank you for the clarity even when I go insane. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you for another day. Thank you for another day. Thank you for my breath. Thank you for my heartbeat. Thank you that I'm blessed with everything I ever need. Thank you for my home. Thank you for my body. Thank you for my soul. Thank you that I get to be me. I'm so grateful I get to be me. I am grateful. Thank you for my breath. Thank you for my breath. Thank you for my heartbeat. Thank you that I'm blessed with everything I could need. Thank you for my home. Thank you for my home. Thank you for my body. Thank you for my soul. Thank you for my soul. Thank you that I get to be. Thank you that I get to be me. I'm so grateful I get to be me. I'm so grateful I get to be me. I am grateful. I am grateful. I'm so grateful I get to be me. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. Thank you that I get to be me with this life and this body and this mind and this energy. Thank you for the simple things, the good and simple things that make this life worth living.
I told John, is this on? Yeah. I told John, usually when I ask the kids to volunteer for who wants to talk about the mission trip, it's like pulling teeth. How's that? Better? Okay. I told my husband, usually it's hard to get people to talk about the mission trip, and that this time there were so many kids that volunteered that I probably would say hardly anything, and he said, I'll believe that when I see it. So, but we're going to start with them for sure. We've got a list here. So we drove straight through to Memphis, and then our first morning of work was we did Meals on Wheels. So who? Ina. Pass to Ina.
Hi. My name is Ina Formula. When we did Meals on Wheels, we split up into the vans that we drove down in, which was kind of the upperclassmen and then a mix of some of the younger boys and like, what was it, the 7th and 8th? The 7th and 6th graders, and then it was kind of like the younger classmen sort of thing. Mostly just like ongoing freshmen. Yeah. So.
What was the third band called? Fish band.
The fish band.
No, the singing band.
The singing band. There was a fish band, and there was a singing band, and there was just the high school band. But in my, well, when we first got there, it was raining really, really badly, and specifically both of my parents, so Chris and Kevin, drove the vans to the farthest part of the parking lot away from the building, and then had to walk all the way to the building and came in soaking wet. And we then had to leave immediately after that, so they had to go back and do the exact same thing. But when we went around delivering the meals, there were hot and cold meals that we could deliver, and I think a lot of us had some pretty okay experiences delivering the meals. There was one lady who had the tiniest dog imaginable. It was like that big. It was like that. It was a teacup dog, and I think was it you?
Yeah, I was.
Alex thought it was. Alex had to ask if it was a dog or not, because it was so tiny. And then she gave us peach Kool-Aid pickles. They were pretty good pickles. They were good pickles. There were multiple flood warnings that day as well. That was fun. Imminent threat flood warnings. Oh, and we had a flat tire that morning.
That's how we started. Imminent
Oh my
flood
gosh.
warnings and a flat tire. That was it.
All in the rain. Yeah. Who's next?
All right. The next one we went to was something called Bridges, and that is Alice.
Okay, so when we went to Bridges, when we went to Bridges, we got a tour of the building, and but I just wanted to enlighten you on their mission statement. Bridges' mission statement is to unite and inspire diverse young people to become confident and courageous leaders committed to community transformation. So we kind of like learned what Bridges was. Bridges basically, at that point they were having like a summer camp there, but they had, their thing was, one of the things that I found really fun was they talked to their kids, and their kids did not like when they had like questions and stuff to raise their hand. They thought it was too much like school, and they didn't want their system to feel like school. They wanted it to feel more of like a diverse, like fun thing for them. So instead of raising our hands, when we had like a question or a statement, we'd go like this. And so when they saw that, they would like call on you. And I thought that was really cool, cause like, yeah, like it's like a little heart, like a lot of like kids this around now like do this. But I thought that was really cool, cause like a lot of times like when you do that, you kind of feel like you're still in school, like when you raise your hand and stuff. But yeah, and then when we were at Bridges, we got this big presentation. They were kind of doing a mock of what like a mock training on us, and it was basically like trying to inform people on like what was happening with like ICE and stuff like that. And so we got a bunch of like, we learned about what was called V901, which basically they have like a phone number, and if you text the phone number, that like you text the phone number information about the like whatever, if you saw like an ICE raid going on or something, and then they would like communicate that out to their volunteers, and their volunteers would go to the raids and try and like calm down the situation. And then also they would communicate that out to like, they posted on Facebook and stuff, and so that people knew what was happening, so that they like could either avoid that area, or if they wanted to go help, that they could go help. And we did that big training, and we also all got like little baggies with like whistles and a card with your rights on it. So like all of your rights on what you can and can't do with like if you have like an officer come up to you. And then we learned about like if you do, I think it's 3 short blows, that means the ICE is in the area, and I think it's 3 long blows if ICE is currently like actively detaining someone. And I thought that was really cool, so yeah.
So the next day, we all were split up into groups. My van, we all went to this place called the Hope House. Basically, they're just a place where they take kids in for daycare that have HIV and AIDS and wouldn't be accepted into any other daycares in the area. And what we did there is they have 2 playgrounds there. The previous day there was floods and things like that, and there was a lot of tree branches, and the playgrounds were just really dirty. We helped to clean them all off, and we washed them down, picked up the sticks, swept all of the extra flowers and leaves and everything. We just cleaned up the place. It looked way better after that.
Okay, and then after that, we got to play with the kids at the park, and we painted with them. And then there was this one kid that did not want to paint or play with chalk, so he just rode in his little car and then slid down the slide like 100 times, just playing. And that was about it. That's all I got. Yes.
Anyone else on Hope House? Otherwise, it's Callie.
Sorry, I wrote it down on my phone so I wouldn't take too long. Okay, so my group on Tuesday, we went to the Room in the Inn, which was a shelter for families. So when we went on Tuesday, we got to do a deep clean in 2 of the rooms there. We swept and mopped, and shout out to Braylee. She got on her hands and knees to scrub a butter spill on the floor from the popcorn machine. Room in the Inn's mission is to help keep families together as they try to find a home. They have several churches that are partners with them in their mission, including the church that we stayed at while we were there. They had a spot on the wall where people could decorate a key and hang it once they got it home. It was really inspiring, for me at least, to see how many people they had helped and how they had made Room in the Inn feel not just like a shelter, but a home for the families staying there.
Okay, hi, my name's Elsie, and I'll be talking about the portion of serving food at the Catholic Charities. It was a food bank, and the food bank was kind of like a drive-through. Cars would pull into a circle area where we would come up to the cars and give them like their food boxes. We had 2 groups when we were serving. One group was giving the people the food boxes, like the bread, and also like bread, and we called it also sweet treats. Other aspect was to fill out this chart for the government. The customers had a card, and we would take it from them and fill out the chart. I overall thought that Catholic Charities was very well organized, and all like the veteran volunteers were all very sweet and helpful.
Okay, so when the group split into 2 in Catholic Charities, Alyssa and I had the opportunity to work in the clothing department of Catholic Charities.
We worked in the lower level of the building, and we checked in donations and helped people shop through the donated items. Me and Elia had to sort through all of the items based on what was needed, and we had to separate the donated clothes by size and age.
Alyssa and I actually ended up working an hour past our scheduled time, and we would have stayed there all day if we could. The adults that we worked with when we went through and shopped were very friendly, and Alyssa and I actually got to talk to them for a while. There was one lady that was walking through, and we got to go through all the dresses that she was getting, and she was telling us the different occasions that she would wear them to, and it was really fun. We made a lot of connections, and I think that was definitely the highlight of our trip.
Give this to Kevin.
probably not the right order, but I'll speak to before we get in. The kids will describe what we did that day. But the message and the reflection on the space is that the work that we did do that they're going to describe is sometimes undesirable. And it was just that reminder that when you go on a mission trip like this, that a group is there sometimes not to necessarily engage and work directly with the vulnerable, but we're there to help the helpers and to make their life a little bit easier. We could look at a certain space and be like, oh my gosh, this is atrocious. Why did it get this way? But it's just that reminder when people are helping at this level of feeding people and caring for people's basic needs that consumes all of their time. So they can't look backwards at organization or gardening or weeding or cleaning sometimes when they're constantly trying to make sure people have their basic needs met. So when you hear about what we did at this site, it's just that reminder of sometimes the volunteers will do the undesirable work.
Is somebody going to explain what First Congo does? Is that someone else?
I think it comes, yeah, well, I could speak to that. So First Congo is it's a church space, and we had a chance to meet Hunter. And Hunter took on the job as facilities manager. Their church congregation is a great representation of what it means to provide a sanctuary or a safe space for organizations. So in his time there, over a decade of time that he's been there, he's slowly expanded the church space to be the office space for the 901 Project, a group of people who are getting together to advocate for your rights within immigration and how to interact with ICE. Not many people are going to house an organization like that, but First Congo stepped up and did it. They helped house specific unions advocating for people. And I think he said that within that space, within their church, they had 10 or 15 organizations that had an office space to be able to work out of and be able to organize. So just the service that they're providing, in addition to feeding people, they're also providing space to those who want to advocate for the marginalized but can't always find a space in a community for which they can organize freely and safely to assemble without fear of violence or counter-protest. So it was a really neat experience to see the work that they're doing at a global level within Memphis to be able to provide opportunity to organize. I think in today's time we find it very hard to organize, how quickly things can get shut down. And this church is dedicated, and Hunter's dedicated his time to making sure people have a safe space to work. And we were able to help out their space.
Anya, Carla.
So when we were working, we were cleaning out a room that had like a bunch of stuff that was just like put in there, and I was at the top of the steps when we were like hauling it out into a dumpster to throw away. And when donations. Yeah.
So that's why it was being thrown away.
Yeah, it was the donations that it got flooded, so we were throwing away. And I was at the top of the steps with a couple other people, and we had a couple of special items that we all loved so much. We had mattresses that were wet and wet clothes that we loved to throw at each other to get away from each other. So that was a very, very fun time, and after a while, it was really warm out. So some people got sunburned because they're in the sun longer than other people, but in general, we are very happy we got to help out people.
Do you explain more of what that line was like? Yeah,
Okay, I'm Anya, and I was at the bottom of the line closer to the door of where everything was. And this room was completely full. Like, you couldn't even walk into the room. There was so much just items in there. And when we were done, you were able to walk pretty far into that room. So we moved a lot of things through there. A lot of things, from wet clothes to just random windows that were just walking through. There was broken glass, and it was a very humbling experience. We liked to make fun of the situation. A group of kids at the bottom decided to sing 100 bottles of beer on the wall. And when we were done with that, we tried to get away with singing 1,000, but they told us not to. It was a very eye-opening experience to what the floods affect people. This was This flood was happened from the day before. So all this rain had just come in 24 hours before we were there, and it affected and got so many things unable to be used that we had to remove.
Can you explain the bucket brigade and the Kevin?
The bucket brigade?
Well, that's what it's called when you pass it. We made the bucket brigade from the basement to the dumpster, so we passed it one piece after another piece all the way up.
I can explain that a little more. So we had our entire group there, and so from the basement to the top into this giant dumpster, we had just a line of people like passing it and passing it and passing it. And I don't actually know where it started because I was at the bottom of the line and we were not saying this, but eventually people started saying pass this to Kevin because, you know, Kevin was on the trip, and also just like the Home Alone quote. But it was Ina and Alex that started it, supposedly. Okay, so they were just passing it. They just pass it down the line. Give this to Kevin. Give this to Kevin. Give this to Kevin. And eventually, they just throw it in the dumpster and go, "Here you go, Kevin." But we were cleaning out this room, and I also talked to the hunter who was in charge, and he said that the room was, it was like an older room, so like it wasn't meant for like this. It wasn't meant to withhold all of this rain and stuff that they'd been getting. But he had tried to like put reinforcements in and stuff, but it just was not helping. So like all of the things we were dragging out were either like they were just like a little damp, or they were like soaking wet and literally dripping with water. So.
Thank you. All right, next is the farm. Who's on the farm?
Am I starting or are you starting? Wait.
What? Oh, Jacoby, Elia, and Melissa.
Yeah, all right. So Wednesday morning, we woke up bright and early and got on an hour van trip about to Mississippi, where we arrived at this farm, and I believe it was a horse sanctuary where they would rescue horses and other animals and, you know, house them at their farm. But what we did specifically is they brought us to the back of their land, and they had this entire area covered in these vines. I forgot the name, but they're kudzu lines. And they were very taking over their environment. They're a very invasive species, and it would have taken them, you know, days to do what we accomplished in maybe a few hours. So that was one part of it. Another part, they had a bunch of wood scattered around their property that also would have taken them very long. But with the amount of people we had and, you know, help that we could provide them, we gathered a bunch of wood from the back of their area and comprised it into a burn pile, which we eventually lit on fire. The wood was very, the wood was very wet, so I assume many of you can picture that the fire smoked out pretty early, but we kept trying, and we eventually got a flame, so that's good. Someone else?
So while Elia was herding goats with a big group of people, there was so many horses, and we had to go through like the big horse, like it was so crazy. But I had to try to like lure the horses away from the goats, otherwise they would just start trampling at the goats, and it was actually really funny. But I don't know.
So while we were herding the goats, we actually had a lot of trial and error to get them back to the farmer they wanted us to bring the goats. So at first, we would get them there, and then we would get back to the tasks that we had been assigned in the farm and turn around and the goats were gone again. And so we had quite a few people running around trying to find the goats, and once we found them, we discovered that the best way was to get them really close to the food bucket, and we had one person sprinkling food into this bowl, and then you tiptoe your way backward, and we had a lot of people on that team, and I think we were pretty successful until the end where we actually overfed the goats, and so our food trick no longer worked, and they weren't very interested, but I think we got a lot done, and it was really fun to all serve together.
So when we were like with the goats, I don't know why they kept doing this, but there was like, they kept going in this spot where there's this one horse, Cupcake. I don't know what the goats did to her, but she did not like the goats at all. And she kept trying to like stomp on them and trample them. And the funny part was there was like no grass, like barely any grass, like in her pen, or like where she was, like the horse area, I don't know. And there was like a ton of grass, like pretty much everywhere else, but apparently the grass that grew there was like the most delicious grass ever or something, because they kept trying to go in there. And then we had to like, I don't know, like we had to like try and herd the goats like away. And eventually we could not get them back to the area where they were supposed to be, so we just put them back in the pen.
Am I starting? Yes. Oh, okay. So me and Braylee, we were the poop scooping team. But we also got...
Oh, I volunteered. She volunteered us. Yeah.
My dream would be that I get to
Whoa, that's an exaggeration.
So while we were like mucking the stalls out, we were only working on one stall, but we got to talk to the people who were like the owners of the farm a lot. And they were telling us like that their mission was to make, like Jacoby said, to make it equestrian therapy farm for the horses. And we actually learned that most of their horses are retired, I think, race horses. Yeah. I think the youngest horse they had was about like 3 years old. Their names were Han and Becca. They told us how grateful they were that we could come out and help them so that they could be closer to achieving their goal. And they were so welcoming, and they told us we could come back anytime we wanted. Even though it's a little bit of a drive, me and Braylee both said we would love to go back there.
As we were helping pick up the horse poop, we were in awe of the beauty of the farm. Their house had a touching story. Becca and Juan added an extra wing to their house for Becca's mom when she became sick. Her mom loved observing nature. This wing gave her the ability to watch the farm from the comfort of her bed. Becca and Fran even added a flower garden for Becca's mom to watch the butterflies. In this garden, we got to pick up flowers and make little bouquets that we ended up decorating the church with later. And then this story inspires me to be more selfless and help those in need.
Okay, next is lynching sites. Brianna is the leader, not a kid, even though she was very young looking.
Later in the afternoon on Wednesday, we had some presenters come, and they offer a program called the Lynching Sites Project. And it was definitely the most somber moment, I think, of the trip. They spoke about the history of sites where lynching occurred in Tennessee in the Memphis area, but they also spoke to just the history of the violence that has happened against the Black community, largely in a Memphis focus, but they also did such an excellent job of tying it into the lingering effects that we see really in a lot of places in the country today. And even though it was a really heavy conversation, and I think it left a lot of us heartbroken, I was so grateful for them for taking the time to give us this presentation. And you could really see, the pain they felt in telling these stories, but it also left me feeling heavy, but also really recommitted to the work of racial justice in this country. And it's given me, even days later, it's given me so much to think about, and I'm really glad that we had the opportunity to hear this.
Awesome. So the next morning was our day off, and we started it at the Civil Rights Museum. So that's Thea and Allison and Jared.
So this was definitely my favorite part of the trip, just because of how powerful it was. Also, a lot of us, we knew we were going to the Civil Rights Museum, but a lot of us didn't know that that's where Martin Luther King Jr. was shot. And I also thought it was so powerful just the way they accurately depicted history, because they gave more credit to the people you don't usually see giving credit to, all the African Americans who gave their life to give us freedom and stuff. And also just seeing Martin Luther King Jr.'s room, like, it made me think about just how far we've come from that. It's like sometimes it doesn't seem as big as, because like we've grown up like just like in such a great community here in FCC, and it doesn't feel as big. But like, I just feel like he'd be so proud of how far we've tried to come from that.
So one thing that stood out to a lot of us was that there was a bus from the Freedom Riders, which was a group of Black people during the civil rights period they had a busing system where it was specifically for Black people so that they wouldn't have to endure like being told where to sit and other injustices. And the bus they had, I think it was the original, they had it and it was burned down because it was lit on fire, I believe, while they were riding. And something that affected a lot of us was there was just a crowd of white people standing outside that bus when it was burning, and the only person that stepped forward to help them was a 12-year-old girl that brought them water. We also watched a 12-minute film, and at the end of that film, there was like shadows on the wall of people marching, and you got to walk out next to those people. And the last thing I want to talk about is with the MLK Memorial is he, in the morning, it was talking about how he started a pillow fight with one of his friends, and I think that brought a lot of like depth to it. And he asked one of his friends to play a song called Precious Lord, and he told his friend, play it real pretty, and that's the song that we'll be playing today in church.
So yeah, also, we've kind of been talking about it, but the Civil Rights Museum, if you didn't know, is set at where the original hotel where Martin Luther King Jr. was shot. And you actually get to walk into his room and stuff where he was staying and stuff like that. But for me, the craziest thing was, so you had different rooms and different exhibits. Like some of the exhibits were just like the first one we went into was just like, I think it was like a interchanging exhibit, and it wasn't really about the Civil Rights Museum, but I think that one was more of like the Black history stuff, and it was like an art, sort of like an art exhibit. And then it was kind of like a light mood. Like that was the first thing we went to. No one knew how serious the museum was really going to be. And then we walked into our second exhibit, and it was about mostly like the slave quarters and stuff, and ships was one of like the big things that there was like a whole exhibit for and stuff. And you could just feel how the mood changed between the different rooms, and like how even like we were just like laughing and giggling 5 minutes ago, and now everyone is sitting there like straight-faced, like just very intent on reading what we are seeing and stuff and learning about it. And I thought that was just really powerful to see how much just a simple room can change everyone's like attitude and everyone's like mood.
Then later that day, we got free time on Beale Street, but it was 100 degrees, and this is how we felt about the shops. Then Grant's favorite part. Pass it to Grant.
Hello. As you heard, we've done a lot of stuff on this mission trip, helped a lot of people, but we also had a lot of fun. And one of the things we went is there's a giant pyramid in Memphis, and inside is a giant Bass Pro Shops. And if you're not aware, Bass Pro Shops is a huge fishing, camping, hunting, outdoors store. And this huge pyramid was just filled with all this stuff. And there was fish tanks and alligators, and Nancy got us all the special access, and we were able to go up this elevator. And at the top of the elevator, there was like a lookout, I don't know, like 300 feet in the air, did they say? Something crazy like that. And you got an outlook over the city of Memphis on the pyramid, and we got some cool pictures, and it was a lot of fun. So, yeah.
All right, next Bryn, Carolyn, and Anya about Room in the Inn.
I'm starting. Okay, we went back to the room at the inn with our whole group this time, not just one of our small groups. And some people were working with the kids outside, but I was working in the kitchen, and I was dishwashing the entire time that we were there. I don't know how long we were there, but I dishwashed almost the entire time, and it was not the most magical experience I had on this trip. We made spaghetti, and that there were a lot of interesting aspects to dishwashing when it comes to spaghetti. One of the first dishes that we got was a big pot that spaghetti was made in, but there was some spaghetti burnt to the bottom of it, and we were unable to get it off right away, so we had to switch out the pot, and that was quite a bit of fun. It was not the most magical experience, but I was very lucky to be able to go through and wash all the dishes that I knew that they were going to need in the future.
I'm Bryn. I'm going to be talking about kind of like the child part of it. So after a group worked on some stuff, which I think Caroline's going to talk about later, some of us got to play with the kids, and I was playing with a kid named Emery and a kid named Rosemary. And we started off by playing this plastic bag game where you like fill up a plastic bag with a bunch of air, and then you throw it in the air, and you both run across the room and grab it. And that was really fun, just to kind of see Emery's playfulness come out and get to see everyone just be a kid. And then I decided to teach her how to play down by the riverside. So a few of us got together, and there was like this look where we're like, okay, we're gonna let this kid win. Whatever it takes, we're gonna let her win. So I think every round she got out, but we made sure that one of us got out instead so that she was able to win. And then after that, a few of us played Simon Says with Emery, and I think we played Simon Says for, I think, a good 20, 30 minutes, and that was just really fun to get to see. She was always Simon, and we did some pretty crazy things, but it was just really cool to see these kids who might have had a little bit of a harder childhood just get to hang out and just be kids and have a good, fun time. Caroline, I think.
Hi, I'm back here. So I was in lobby with Lexi here. She's amazing. She was playing the piano the whole entire time, and they were amazing every single time. And I just wanted to give her a shout out because she played amazing, and even though she doesn't think she did, she did. She did. Amazing. She's amazing.
Let's see, is that the end of it?
Yeah, we're. So we stayed at Idlewild Church, which the first floor, which we weren't really on, like pretty sure had like a daycare and stuff for, like, right? Yeah. We didn't see it often, but that was there. Idlewild also helped, like on Thursday, I think, provided room for more people from room at the inn to stay just a night and to like take showers. But the sleeping arrangements and stuff this year was better than previous years because we had like the building in general was nicer with nicer accommodations. All the bathrooms were clean. They had like clean showers, and we didn't have to sleep in a gym like previous years.
3 separate rooms.
We had 3 separate rooms, and there was also the Idlewild is large buildings with more modern and some older elements. But I'll just give this to Connor to talk about that.
Yeah, like Justice was saying,
No, that's good.
No, it's fine. The church had 2 like main parts. The one part where we were staying at was added on in, I think, the 1980s, they said. and was more modern and had like a gym and stuff inside that people could use. But the other part of the church was built in 1928, I believe, and it was had this really beautiful like chapel area that was several times the size of like this area and had a lot of very intricate like stained glass windows, and they had a organ which was probably around the size of like from the floor to the ceiling up here, like up front. It was just this absolutely like stunning space to be in and was really beautiful. And I think this was something that Nancy said, that it's really cool that this church specifically like did a lot of stuff with the community and like opened their doors to, and like what Justice said, like let people stay there, because like most of the time churches that are like this nice or this like fancy, don't normally do stuff like that for the community, so that was just really cool to see.
John's right, I will say a few words. This is called The Tale of the Pretty Princess. So when we were planning the mission trip with the leaders ahead of time, the leaders were going out of their way to talk about how they would accommodate me, to make sure I stayed healthy, that I didn't get too tired. And Wade was saying, what about in the vans? Is there a certain place that you need to sit, Nancy, or whatever? And all the other leaders who traveled me started laughing. And Kevin formally goes, oh, you've never traveled with the Pretty Princess before. She always sits in the front, she never drives, and half the time she forgets to navigate. So that became the lore. But I have to say, this whole group treated me like a princess this week. I have never had more people ask me how I was doing, offer to carry my bags, offered to bring me a drink, offered to, I don't know, just tell me how much they love me. It was it felt very, very, very well cared for by this group. These leaders were amazing. Give a hand for the leaders, please. They were a well-oiled crew. We had many, many planners in this group. There was never something that was not thought about ahead of time. It was all taken care of and planned beautifully. And they often tried to protect me from things that were going wrong when we checked into our hotel. It ended up being very stressful because we changed some rooms and didn't realize in our changing we had added an extra room. So I was kind of stressed out. And then we realized that the pool, the whole reason we booked the place was the pool, and it was broken. And I heard someone in the voice saying, don't tell Nancy, don't tell Nancy. I was fine, we were all fine. We played games instead. But I'm just so proud of this group. There was maybe less, like this group could have done huge jobs, but it's really hard to find jobs for 39 people at once. So there was some frustration sometime, like we could have been doing so much more. But the way they cared for each other, like 6th graders in groups with 11th and 12th graders, and everyone treating each other with respect. The basketball, on the basketball court, you've got, Jacoby playing basketball with Grant, making sure he got as much chance at the basketball as anyone else. Like the relationships between these kids and the way they took care of each other, you know how proud I am of you guys. So, yeah. Was there anything else the leader wanted to add, or? Okay, you guys want to see a slideshow? See some pictures of this? If you can, you want to sit on the floor or go back to your chairs, either way.
Put on my blue suede shoes and I boarded the plane. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blues, in the middle of the pouring rain. W.C. Handy, won't you look down over me? Yeah, I got a first-class ticket, but I'm as blue as a boy can be. Then I'm walking in Memphis, just walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam. Walking in Memphis, but do I really feel the way I feel? Saw the ghost of Elvis on Union Avenue, followed him up to the gates of Graceland, and I watched him walk right through. Now security, they did not see him, they just hovered around his tomb. But there's a pretty little thing waiting for the king down in the jungle room. When I was walking in Memphis, I was walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam. Walking in Memphis, but do I really feel the way I feel? They've got catfish on the table, they've got gospel in the air. Reverend Green, be glad to see you when you haven't got a prayer. Boy, you got a prayer in Memphis. Muriel plays piano every Friday at the Hollywood, and they brought me down to see her, and they asked me if I would do a little number, and I sang with all my might. She said, tell me, are you a Christian child? And I said, ma'am, I am tonight. Walking in Memphis, was walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam. Walking in Memphis, but do I really feel the way I feel? Walking in Memphis, I was walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam. Walking in Memphis, but do I really feel the way I feel? Put on my blue suede shoes and I boarded the plane. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blues, in the middle of the pouring rain. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blues, in the middle of the pouring rain.
So our next song, I was tasked with introducing it and why we're singing it, but in fact, Thea already did that. There she is right over there. What are you doing next Sunday? Would you like to try your hand at a sermon? No, you sure? Okay, maybe August. Our next hymn, the hymnals are underneath your seats. If you're in a pew, they're in the back of the pew in front of you. It's hymn number 472, and this is the song that Martin Luther King Jr. had a friend play for him the morning he was killed. Precious Lord, take my hand.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to light. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. When my way grows drear, precious Lord, linger near. When my life is almost gone, hear my cry, hear my call, hold my hand lest I fall. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. When the darkness appears and the night draws near and the day is past and gone, at the river I stand, guide my feet, hold my hand, take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. Precious Lord, take my
All right, from Elvis Presley to a word of prayer. Please join me in a time of prayer. Let us pray. Merciful God, we join today in gratitude for your many blessings. We pause to give you thanks for summer, with its warmer, brighter weather and its longer days. To give you thanks for friends who rally around us, and for family, whether through birth or through choice, that sustains us. To give you thanks for adventures such as vacations and mission trips and camps. To give you thanks for the anticipation of new experiences and for the comfort and coziness of annual traditions and routines. To give you thanks for our young people and their adult mentors, whom we wished farewell on the way to Memphis and whom we welcome home again with gratitude. Gracious God, we invite you into our midst to be present with us in our worship, in our joys, in our happy reunions, and in successful efforts to be your people in this world. And we invite you, gracious God, to be present with us also in our times of trouble and sorrows, our times of confusion and anxiety, our seasons of fretful worry. Be for us always, Holy One, a light in the darkness, a glimmer of hope, like the sun that rises these mornings over Lake Michigan. First, a warm glow, and then a shining orb that rises and brings a sense of wonder, a sign of beauty, as well as a growing sense of hope. May your presence in our lives form us as disciples, and may we always be drawn to you for your love and mercy, as we desire too to be agents of blessing in this world you made and love. God, we are grateful people, cognizant that you bless us abundantly. We ask that you also remember and bring your healing and wholeness to our friends who are ailing. In our midst, you will find people suffering from heart disease and mental illness, troubles as disparate as cancer and malaise, And yet we ask that you nurture and care for these folks and settle upon us also, that we might rise to the occasion to bring nurture and care to these dear friends as well, honoring and loving both those we wish to help and you, our divine parent. This morning we remembered Gary, who fell recently and hurt himself badly. We are sorry to learn that he has been placed on hospice and does not have long to live. Bless him, merciful one, and comfort his family and friends. Be our rock and support, a strong and unfailing foundation in our lives today, tomorrow, and always, we pray. In the name of the one who liberates, Jesus himself, who taught us to pray like this. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. So this is the American premiere. Just like a moment of reflection. Yes. And Anna tells me it's long. I will probably disagree with her. So take this time while you listen to this beautiful piece of original music to reflect on what these young people have shared with you today.
inspired to expand the work of service with our neighbors. We go to be present with one another and with those who host us. Love God, love neighbor. We go to make change for good in our own lives and in the lives of others. Love God, love neighbor. We go to experience God in new and powerful ways. Love God, love neighbor. We go so we can come back, empowered to work for a just world for all.